Hello and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series Division E. I am your host for this evening, Cat Peach, and I am joined tonight by a new face over here, BKL. How are you doing?
I am wonderful, and yourself?
I am doing just snazzy. This is my first Division E cast of the season, so new division, new faces, and all that jazz. So always excited for that to come in. To catch...
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah, like I think that I'm really happy there's a new division, and I hope that a lot of fun stuff happened in Division D last season, and I really hope that they kind of take up the torch and say we're gonna have more fun than the D kids this year. So we'll have to see. All right, it looks like both teams are ready, so we're gonna head into the draft for game number 1, where we are going to Tomb of the Spider Queen. And to catch people up on what happened after the coin flip, Luciodology, winning the coin flip, decided to pick the first map of this evening, which was Tomb of the Spider Queen, and banned out Dragonshire. While MHS Tigers are taking us to Infernal Shrines later this evening and banned Brax's Holdout. So that leaves us where we are now. And as we were talking before the cast started, you were saying MHS Tigers, often with the Asmodan first ban, is that right?
That's actually Luciodology with the
Luciodology,
coming
okay.
as a ban, and also tend to really highly prioritize that Deckard Kane.
Yeah, Deckard is, and we are seeing a bit of a flip there, I think, with MHS over on the right. Wondering if they're trying to like trick their opponents into banning something they're actually like more afraid of. I don't know. The Asmodan is a very funny. He can be very strong in certain hands, so I definitely can't hate on that ban too much. We don't see it as first ban very often, however, but the Garrosh very much more familiar.
Very much a dangerous force on any map. Really having that potential flip into a stun, just that blow up potential there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just talking about the priority on Deckard Kane for Luciodology, and I don't hate that, especially given that when you're looking at the top tier of supports, Deckard's a little bit above a lot of folks, I feel, especially whether or not it's really true. Ever since the ice block removal from Malfurion and some of those changes, not so much a priority in him, but Deckard Kane kind of being the shining star now in the support role.
Yeah, he's really come out. You saw at the Western Clash, he was the most played support by far. You really did see that mouth drop due to the survivability from Ice Block just vanishing.
Yeah, it's very interesting, given that Like, the rest of his kit is still mostly intact, and I guess I'm not a Malfurion main. I'm not a support main whatsoever. And so it seems kind of strange that something like that would just erase Malfurion's pick rate off the map. But it does give rise to, like, Alex Drazen, Sukov way more often, and I love to see that happen. So there is that Deckard we talked about. Also the Johanna being picked up for their warrior.
But with a first pick Blaze coming in on the side of MHS Tigers, really putting that priority in the solo lane, trying to get that extra wave clear and also helping out at the team fight, being able to hit a good jet propulsion. And we have an Ariel being picked up here. Not a common support you see.
I wonder what this means. Because Ariels either mean someone wants to just play Ariel, or something like a Cho'Gall ends up coming into play, which with 2 left, you never know.
And with that Tychus pickup denying that % damage, I could really see a Cho'Gall being an option for MHS here, leaving themselves open to it. But Luciodology having none of it, banning out the Cho. I personally would have banned Gall. That's preference.
It's always a preference. I wonder which one has the higher ban rate. Just if people have a preference to that or not. Going back to that Blaze, though, what I really love about picking that up so early is that even though there are other solo laners who can, you know, give him a run for his money.
I like it. Pure respect from MHS Tigers saying, you know what? You can ban Cho. We're going to ban the more dangerous one in Gall.
Oh, that's so good. I was gonna say, the bunker denies a lot of heroic options, right? There's a lot that the bunker, you hop into there, and there's a few things that it ends up negating entirely. So even though in that solo lane role, like, it's a bit, you know, maybe not the winning matchup, that alone kind of warrants the early pick there. Kael'thas and Genji, not so surprised by either of those, to be honest.
Not really. KT brings great wave clear with his flame strikes, being able to clear out those web weavers, and Genji just brings in a huge threat to that backline. And wow,
that is a murky. That's a variant and a murky.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Division E,
where they're not afraid to play off-meta heroes like that Merc. I love it. I love it so much.
Not only is it a Murky, it's a Murky picked into a Genji.
And now with a Zeratul as well. Oh my goodness. This is...
That Murky is in for the ride of his life.
Either the ride of his life or giving other people the rides of their lives, depending. Because if you play against a really solid Murky, it could be one of the most annoying things, especially if you're going after those kills on him, even though it's not worth a lot, right? You go in and you say, we totally have this Murky dead, it's fine, and then they just bubble away, and everything's okay. That could just tilt a player.
Resources to try and... Now, Tomb of the Spider Queen, not known to be really that 1-3-1 setup that you might expect with a Blaze Murky, so... The question comes out, is this going to be a Blaze with the 4-man? And if it is there any chance this is a Twin Blades variant?
I'd be really scared if it were, just because I don't think Blaze can hold up well enough as the solo warrior against a lot of the tools that Luciodology has in their pocket. Like, even though he has really great self-sustain, I think there's just something a little bit more, especially to deal with if you end up having Blessed Shields, stuns you out. You have escapes on your own, but I just don't feel like Blaze can be all the protection needed to protect that Ariel and that Tychus. So if that's the case, it's going to be a rough uphill battle for sure, but you can never discount a pocket Murky pick, so it's hard to say either way. But on the side of Luciodology, it just seems like a more expected situation, I guess, and that can sometimes give teams the one-up that they really need. So we're getting into game number 1 between these two teams. On the left in blue, we have Luciodology. We're going to have Galactos on Deckard Cain, Goose MVP on Johanna, Fairywinkle on Genji, Lemony Fresh on Kael'thas, and Hentron on Zeratul.
10 seconds.
And over in the red, we are going to have Winzo playing Ariel, Wolf Dark on Blaze, Black Fist on Murky, Montu on Tychus, and Shadow Fist rocking the Varian. Will it be the twin Blaze? We will have to see.
And we do get High King's Quest on that level 1 for Varian, so the dream is alive. Who is not alive, though? Ariel and Blaze.
A very quick 2 kills coming out in favor of Luciodology, which is not exactly what you want when you're running such a risky composition like you are inside of MHS Tigers.
Not at all. Murky picking up the bribe here, looking to kind of take advantage of those Merc camps. Genji diving in, looking for that kill, but Murky, safety bubble, he's out.
Yeah, totally out. And that's what we're talking about with that safety bubble. It's so easy to bait heroes into putting their all into killing that Murphy, and then you just kind of slide away behind your gate and everything is okay. Now, watching for the placement of Murky's egg will be the interesting thing to see if that Genji can maybe capitalize on finding that and taking it out.
Currently, though, it is all the way back by that bottom keep, so no real threat to a Genji dive over the wall here. But we do have 3 rotating down on that Johanna. But she does get out, pops the Unstoppable, and is all right.
Yeah, with the hardened skin, it is one of those things that you want to try to bait it out and then go in, just like Shadow Fist is, and Goose is going to have to walk away after spending that, given that there's no extra protection there except for heals from Deckard Cain.
Definitely. Murky rotating here between bottom and mid, looking to pick up those extra bribe stacks so we can possibly get an early Merc going on. And Ariel keeping her crown on Varian, of all people.
Ooh, up top, Zeratul on that Hentron on that Zeratul, taking out the Blaze, which is not a story you hear very often.
Not only did he take out the Blaze, he took out the Blaze in a pure 1v1.
Yeah.
There was no rotation from Genji, it was just Zeratul doing his thing.
Safety bubble out for Black Fist.
Now we do see Zeratul building into that cleave build that is standard, but Deckard Cain here on level 4 picks up the Ruby. Those healing pots that come out when you hit a Herodric Cube.
Yeah, total.
Possibly looking to provide those extra healing pots for Genji and Zeratul when they dive in.
Yeah, with that extra dive that we have with this composition, makes a lot of sense, and I like that adjustment there. Usually, I feel like don't see Ruby in a lot of matches coming up, but given that with the potential stuns from Ariel and just the damage that could come out from Tychus, making sure that those squishy characters do end up staying alive in these fights.
And unfortunately, when level 4 hits, my dream ends, as we do have Taunt on the Varian.
Taunt on the Varian, thank goodness. I wonder if they were waiting to see how Blaze was doing in this matchup to make that decision. I am glad for our taunts selection, although the dream might be dead, but a dream of a win is really what this team is after. So whatever's gonna get you there, I say go for it.
Definitely, and speaking of dream, Murky's living the dream at level 4 for that extra spell power as he's alive. And though Twin Blades may be fun, into a Johanna who can blind you and CC you, this is not a comp you want to play Twin Blades into.
Yeah, it would be definitely a little bit risky. On top of the risk already being taken, I love that Murky is just fighting at face with these members down here in bottom on Luciodology, not afraid to get his little Merc hands dirty in the fight.
Not at all. Just going in, throwing those pufferfish out, hitting some slimes. We're going to just put a bit of poke on, and the taunt comes out. Forces the Unstoppable.
Hardened skin makes it really hard to kill, but now with that on cooldown, it is possible for MHS Tigers to maybe make something happen. Shadow Fist, however, ends up getting hit by the Gravity Laughs. Not enough follow-up. Is going to walk away with the guarantee from Winslow.
Does end up using his bribe there on the bottom camp, picking up those Siege Giants, possibly looking to provide a bit of pressure in the bot lane as they rotate up through mid. As Luciodology is looking for that first turn of the game, having those 44 gems available to get the 15 needed.
Yeah, it looks like at this top turn-in, there's a lot of contention as the Gravity Blast comes out. Murky ends up being slain by Zeratul, while the rest of Luciodology ends up going in, but the members of Tigers end up backing away and trying to get this turn-in.
That will be the level 7 for Luciodology now having the talent advantage. Kael'thas here going into Sun King's Fury, looking for that extra spread damage on the Living Bomb.
Yeah, I do feel like MHS Tigers has been grouped up enough to warrant that spread and to get a lot of advantage out of it, especially if you pair that with something like Blessed Shield to enable that that stun just a little bit longer to guarantee the spread. But Web Weavers...
Look at Murky, brings 4 members down and they still can't kill him.
The unkillable Murloc. Nothing you can do about that. But with these Web Weavers now, we have a 1-level lead already for Luciodology, who end up clearing that minion wave, rotating to the mid, although that Weaver has already fallen there, seeing what they can grab, seeing if they can maybe get some kind of push there.
Oh, and Zeratul goes in following the Web Weaver wave, coming out, gets the kill onto the Tychus, but falls to a 3-man rotation with a taunt from Varian coming in.
Yeah, the taunt secured that kill. The rest of the members, however, have been given free reign down here in bottom because of that rotation. Black Fist hardly getting out of there, but the secure comes in from Kael'thas before the root can even hit from Deckard.
And with 3 members down here and a Web Weaver still up, this will be the bottom fort coming in here, giving a good chunk of experience to Luciodology to get them on their way to level 10. And it will actually just get them there. We get Might of the Nerazine from Zeratul looking for the extra ability damage. We get Stay a While and Listen from Deckard Cain, looking to set up with some massive sleeps. Blessed Shield coming in from the Johanna, looking for that CC and playmaking. X-Strike for the Genji, and Phoenix for the Kael'thas. Sleep comes in on the Murky, not the target you want to hit, but Blessed Shield comes out and down goes
X-Strike confirms that kill. Beautiful, beautiful work coming out from Fairywinkle there. But their opponents did get their turn-in of their own, so they're going to have to start defending against that. Shadowfist going in on Lemony Fresh, but walking away just fine. Without level 10, though, how far do you think MHS Tigers is really going to get in this push?
I honestly don't see them getting much out of it. I think this was more MHS Tigers just trying to stop the bleeding, get a bit of extra wave clear going so they can hit that level 10 and fight again, because into level 10s, you're not going to be able to push with these whatsoever.
Yeah, it's really hard. You can easily step out way too far, given that the Web Weavers are a bit more of a ranged kind of boss there. And Luciodology making such quick work. Goose MDB caught a little bit out in the solo here in mid, able to pop away just fine, but with the members all rotating from both teams, except for that Murky who's staying there on bottom.
Murky getting that value ball with the Web Weaver. You do get level 10s coming in now for the side of MHS Tigers, who do end up clearing out that bottom Web Weaver. You're going to have Crystal Aegis on the Ariel, March of the Murlocs on the Murky, Commandeer Odin on the side of Tychus, the Warbringer to build up Taunt on Varian, and Blaze still holding.
Yeah, Blaze holding. I'm wondering if there's actually much beyond the X-Strike. Ooh, that Crystal just comes out to try to save Monty, but still caught in a really awful position. Ends up getting taken out. Hentron barely making it out. The X-Strike comes, not catching anyone just yet. Shadowfist having the back up. March of the Murlocs comes in.
Genji possibly looking into a dive there, possibly looking for some resets, not seeing any value there. But Deckard getting hit by all those Murlocs, as is Johanna. Johanna will fall here. Question is, what else can they get? The stun comes onto Deckard, as does the taunt. And the old man will fall.
Grandpa, you're gonna need life alert, because you just fell down, my friends. And that was a great situation for MHS Tigers to get in. As soon as you get 10, you know you only have so much time to try to make up experience, try to get as close to 13 as you can, as your opponent is already so much farther ahead of you. So being able to grab those 2 kills, nearly grab a fort in the bottom as well, is excellent news. Not so excellent.
Oh, and
Murky fall down.
That's 25 gems on the floor there.
Yeah, that's the dangerous thing is Murky. You think you might maybe get away, but with something as speedy as a Genji following right behind you, not always the case.
Speaking of a Genji, looks like they found him again. Zeratul looking for that turn to get the full turn in they need. And goodbye, Murky again.
Goodbye, Murky. The other...
Another turn inside of Luciodology.
Beautiful turn.
To make something happen.
Yeah, the 4-man sleep came out. Odin did end up getting popped. Goose MVP trying to displace as many members as possible, but ends up getting taunted on the retreat and ends up falling. Bunker is dropped.
There falls to the Odin as well as the pufferfish, and we do have Bunker finally picked up by Blaze.
Yeah, Bunker picked up by Blaze, not so much as a defensive maneuver. However, did add enough damage just to threaten the other team away. So Luciodology ended up backing up. Not able to push too much with this mid web weaver, and it is taken out before he can even get to the gate. Murky making quick work of this bottom one as well.
That only leaves top available for Luciodology, but with no Johanna on the field until right now, they're not going to be able to get anything with that. That's essentially 55 gems burned. MHS Tigers has to love how they made that happen.
There are so many resources spent babysitting this Murky and trying to get the kill. And I just worry that it might be too much of a focus while not focusing on other points in the map. This boss call.
Speaking of other points on the map, we got a boss call coming in from MHS Tigers. Zeratul possibly getting up there in time to check it out. Is he going to see it? He will see the boss, in fact, but his team is not close enough to make that rotation.
Yeah, Genji trying to come up, but with the rest of the team getting that camp on their side, they're starting to rotate up, but it's not going to be fast enough. And this
dives in, but not soon enough. A two-man stun comes in, taunt onto Genji, and he goes down. Huge sleep by Deckard, but no follow-up onto it.
March of the Murlocs comes in. Goose MVP getting hit just a little bit, ends up popping the hardened skin in order to get out, but ends up getting stunned by the boss. The boss stun OP and ends up falling, and this will be a 4 in favor of MHS Tigers. And Murky doing Murking things elsewhere in the map. This is a fantastic push so far. Zeratul ends up falling as well.
Zeratul goes down too. Commandeer Odin's popped here. They're looking for a keep wall, and this boss is healthy. They might get a keep.
Yeah, they're seemingly eyeing for it too. Depends on how fast they can get this gate down. Murky's simply just soaking elsewhere there. There's still 2 seconds left for Johanna to come back. And if they can start doing damage to this keep before Zeratul comes back, they might be able to pull it off.
Yeah, they're getting some damage, but they are going to back out here, knowing the engage is too risky with Murky not with them. Scroll of Stealing doesn't hit anything, but MHS Tigers back into this game, taking a lead at level 16, and they have enough for a turn in here.
Have enough for a turn, and Murky about to finish off this bottom 4 as well. Things are coming up roses for the Tigers right now, and if you're Luciodology in this position who have focused so hard on killing that Murky, trying to make sure they're not getting that soak advantage, and you find yourself in this position, what do you do at this point, BKL?
If I'm Luciodology, I'm praying we hit 16 soon, because Zeratul becomes a lot scarier when he hits that level 16 cleave one. So that's when he really comes online. So if I'm Luciodology, I'm thinking, okay, Zeratul's a late game hero. Let's get him there. Let's stay in this game. Let's try and make a comeback. They need to stay calm and composed here and not let that Murky run all over them like he has been doing so much already.
Yeah, absolutely. There have been a few victories on the side of Luciodology, but right now a victory would come in the form of being able to defend against this push. The sleep does come out, stunning
Sleep
2 members.
In, it's Blaze, but not much follow-up onto it.
Yeah, not too much follow-up, just a stalling.
Trying to 1v1 that Murky, that is not going to work for you, my friend.
Going to try.
Johanna has to burn Blessed Shield to get away from a Murky.
That Murky, too strong, ends up taking that top keep finally. Johanna not the one to really go up there, in my opinion.
Flank with the March of the Murlocs.
So excellent. Odin is popped.
Odin coming in.
Gonna add a damage.
Deckard
came melted from that Odin in that charge. And now Genji barely making away, but We still have a bit of life here on this mid Web Weaver, and now all eyes are on the core for MHS Tigers.
A little bit low. X-Strike comes on the back, doesn't hit anything. The Web Weaver's down. Bunker's already been dropped. Huge Flame Strike coming in.
Yeah, Flame Strike coming in, but the stun against Goof's MVP has them withdrawing back. Hentron trying to do the damage. Fairywinkle attacking that back line, trying to take that Ariel down, and so close to being down as well. Winslow ends up sneaking away. They were able to get the Tychus, but they still have their core. They got the Tychus, they still have their core, they still have a chance in this game. 20, however, rapidly approaching for MHS Tigers. So Luciodology has a very short window to make something happen.
If I'm Luciodology, I'm looking for any fight I can get right now. You have 16, you're on equal talents. Your Zeratul just got his Void Slash. Decker just got his Stone Curse. These are huge power spikes, but you're not going to have an even fight for a while if they hit 20. You got to make something happen now.
Yeah, and they were able to take out the Murky and dropping yet another 30 gems from MHS Tigers. See Murky's egg there just hiding out a little bit. We've seen some skirmishes over there, so it might be a little bit in danger. But right now, we're having a fight.
Huge Sleep comes in, hits 2, but is woken up. And that will be the end, possibly, of Deckard.
Yep.
And Murky blowing that March of the Murlocs onto that Kale Frost, looking for another kill here.
Yeah, trying to prevent the retreat, but Lemony Fresh just barely seems to have missed the bulk of it. But Blaze coming in right after Wolf Dark, making sure that Lemony Fresh does not get away.
He's saying, you're not getting away from me.
Absolutely not. No way, no how. I can outcharge you, my dear fire friend, he says.
And now, MHS Tigers hits that all-important level 20 spike. We had Shield of Hope on the side of Ariel. The the burn notice on the side of Blaze for extra damage, making Inky on the side of Murky for those so many slimes coming in. Big red button for that extra Odin damage, and Vigilance for the taunt degrade. But as I'm saying all this, MHS Tigers looking to end this now.
Yeah, looking to end. The health bars are starting to get a little bit low, but it should be enough damage between Montu and that Odin. Decker Kane ends up falling as well. Big red button coming out.
Miracle, and that'll be game.
Yeah.
Number 1, going over to the side of MHS Tigers, bringing out the Murky.
Bringing out the Murky, showing how to work the Murky. Worky Murky indeed. Definitely not how I was expecting that match to go overall. But congratulations to MHS Tigers for giving the rest of the teams in the division to possibly pull out the Murloc every once in a while.
Very much so, and Luciodology were playing fantastic in that early game. They had a great lead going on, but as that late game just keeps on coming along, Murky hits power spike after power spike after power spike. And he just gets so hard to handle, coming in with 133,000 siege damage and 27,000 hero damage.
13 kills in favor of MHS Tigers as well, so all around, fantastic work done by that whole team. If you're on the side of Luciodology, though, coming after a loss like that, what are you thinking when we're going into game number 2? We're on a different map, it's Infernal Shrines, but we still do have the focus on quick clear, much like Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Definitely. If I'm Luciodology, I'm nervous because this was Luciodology's map pick. They're like, we're comfortable here. If MHS has taken them to Infernal, they gotta be thinking, oh god, what do they have planned?
Is the Murky ban worth it? Is really the question that comes out now.
First, second ban? I don't think so. I think you can ban them in that third ban slot comfortably if you're really that worried about it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple ban baits for sure. I'm trying to think what happened during one of my games earlier this week. The Zagara ban ended up getting pulled out. Again, as a third ban slot, but still puts fear into your opponents to have such a convincing performance like that with a hero that's so not commonly picked up.
Very much so.
Yeah, I'm wondering for game number 2 as well, do we see a reprise of that Zeratul and maybe try to work more around getting the picks with that Zeratul rather than having a bit more of a solo roamer Zeratul style, if that makes sense?
Makes sense. Keeping him with the 4-man, trying to get more damage in.
Oh, I did not mean to make that an observer.
Hello,
player.
Fairywinkle.
Fairywinkle, congratulations. You just got upgraded.
Now, the last time Luciodology, they have played this map before in their last series. They did unfortunately lose on it, and they lost to a very interesting no-support Valera composition.
Excuse me, what?
Team Luciodology in game number 2 against Law's Brawls. Law's Brawls pulled out a 0 support, not even a pseudo-support Abathur, a 0 support Kerrigan Valera.
Huh. Well, that is something you don't see every day.
The best part is when you get to the interview and you ask them, how'd you decide to run this? And they say it was completely accidental. We forgot to pick a healer and it auto-picked Valera for us.
Oh no! Feels bad. Those are the scariest situations to be in, because I feel like there's been another game so far in NGS that's happened as well. And when asked about it, they were like, that was totally accidental. We were trying to pick someone else entirely, and we accidentally picked that hero. So I feel like
it worked out in the end.
Yeah, it worked out in the end. I think some teams are still adjusting to the shorter pick timers as well, with the lack of 5 seconds there. So
definitely.
You know, it's something that you have to think a little bit faster on your feet going forward, for sure.
Absolutely. I think the combination of a shorter ban time and also that third ban coming in is really throwing people for a loop still.
Yeah, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, we are just getting the lobby set up for game number 2, so thank you for hanging in there before we bring you this next game. We didn't see Urel either banned or picked, which I know you never want to say like Urel should show up everywhere, given that she's had dominance in the HGC and a lot of other divisions. Do you think that speaks to this division in particular wanting just to try something different and not rely on those? Do you think there's a bit of a discomfort in this division overall in her playstyle?
I think it's a bit of both. They really like to pull out these oddball heroes. I've seen a Rexar. We just saw a Murky. Really wanting to try something else in that solo, and Urel, with those charge up abilities, is a bit more on the wonky side to get a handle of, so she is a bit higher difficulty, so it may just be they're not as comfortable running her in that solo, but I am definitely surprised at how little we've seen her.
Yeah, it has been a surprise in multiple parts of this league as well, and perhaps, you know, she's not fun for some folks. Perhaps they're like, no, we got something better up our sleeve. And I'm glad that it's a refreshing experience to not just have the same off lane over and over again. We still see a lot of Blaze, obviously, with that Urel, but I enjoy a change up for sure. Looks like
Absolutely.
Both teams are ready here, so we're going to get right into game number 2. Let me update the scores real fast. MHS Tigers up 1 in the series against Luciodology.
And as we were going into this game number 2, got to throw it to MHS Tigers. Coming online with that portrait synergy. Game 1 wasn't necessarily there. Had 3 people with it. Game 5, all 5 rocking the same portrait. Love to see it.
It makes us observers and casters so happy to be able to just match the team to the portrait. It just looks beautiful. I have spent shards at the last moment just to make sure I had matching portraits with the rest of my teammates. It goes a long way for morale. Let me just say that.
Absolutely. Great to see. Luciodology again coming out with that first ban Garrosh.
Yeah, pretty standard. I do like it. He can be tough to deal with certain teams depending on their comfort. So stick with what you know. Stick with what's strong. Ban out that Gary. Ban out those flips.
Definitely. Hero, I'm really looking to see how high priority it is for either team. The Alex Straza, I'm curious to see where she comes in. Really strong on shrines with that dragon form. But a Zeratul ban coming in on the side of MHS Tigers, not wanting to deal with those cleaves coming in again.
Yeah, the Cleaves did have, you know, a lot of damage coming out from Zeratul. Going back to the Alexstrasza, based on, you know, what you were saying with Luciodology, the preference on the Decker Kane, I'm wondering if it's something that they would end up playing just because she's so strong. Now that Decker is actually banned out, you either have to give it to your opponent, I feel, or take it right now.
They go the Asmodan, though. That hero not banned out for the first time in any of their series, so they pick it up. Really a strong force on this bigger map, having that ability to push more. But that does leave the Alexstrasza, who MHS has shown a priority for in the past, up. But they don't take it. They stick with a strong Diablo Jaina.
Yeah, Diablo Jaina, a fantastic pairing. I wonder if we'll end up seeing a Phoenix paired up with those later on in the draft. But again, this is leaving room for that. I'm hoping it comes out here, because if it's not coming out here, I have a lot of nervousness, I will say, for Luciodology going with their front line. Well, then what do I know? I quit. This is...
Dahaka, sticking with that Johanna priority on the form of tank and grabbing that global in Dahaka, really saying, okay, last game, you really hurt us with that macro control, so we're going to try and take it to you this time.
And then the Alex ban now coming in, so with Decker Kane and Alexstrasza banned out on the side of supports, we have the Stukov still around. I've seen a few appearances of Lily coming out in NGS. Always a possibility there. Perhaps a reprise of the Malfurion that we talked about in game number 1. But that's going to be an interesting area to see what these teams end up going with.
We could possibly see another Ariel on the side of MHS. They ran it last game to much success.
Yeah, very good point. With the Ariel pullout last time, it's... who knows what support you're going to have. The world is our oyster at this point. We still need the solo lane for MHS Tigers. So hoping to see that in this rotation along with that support that we talked about.
But personally, I really like the way MHS went with their bans. You're getting rid of 2 great supports, trying to choke them out.
Ana checking in.
Ana!
And picking up the Ana. This makes me, as a support main, very happy to see. Ana just...
Nano Boost Greymane, hello?
Nano Boost Jaina, hello.
Lucio coming out for Luciodology. Can't... love it. I love to see it. You love to see it.
Love the name representation.
Follow up with the
Cassia. Be the Cassia.
Very interesting to go in to that backline, into that Jaina, and then escape in time, hopefully with enough armor to survive the attacks coming out from Greymane. So who's this last pick?
Still needs their solo laner here. Could it possibly be another specialist like Murky?
Possibly something like Murky to trade into that Asmodan. I think... Ooh!
That's a solo laner I haven't seen in a while.
That is one diva coming up from MHS Tigers. My goodness. If they can execute on this draft, even with all the macro control it seems that Luciodology has with that Dahaka, with that Asmodan, I would be shaken looking at the Tigers draft. You have Diva for that shrine control with the self-destruct, forcing your opponent to back out of the shrine area. Again, the nano boost onto Jaina just puts out so much damage. There are so many scary things for that team.
Yeah, especially adding into what you said, Diablo with those charges and wallbangs has fantastic shrine control. If I'm Luciodology, I'm really worried here.
I am absolutely worried. I think the win condition is to get that early experience lead and simply never give it up, because once you lose it, I think it's going to be really hard to get it back simply by team fighting. I don't think there's necessarily the capacity to win out in late game exchanges against MHS Tigers, and so it's got to be early and they got to keep it. Tricky for sure. A hard situation to be in. Early pressure early on is never something that is guaranteed either, and it's not like their opponents don't have wave clear in response, so we're gonna have to see how this ends up going. Luciodology coming back in, trying to secure a win in game number 2. We have Galactos on Lucio, Lemony Fresh on Cassia, Goose MVP again on Johanna, Fairywinkle on Azmodan, and Hentron on Dehaka.
And on the side of MHS Tigers, we're going to have Wolfdark on that Diva, Black Fist on the Diablo, Montu on Gina, Shadow Fist on Greyman, and Winslow bringing out the Ana.
Yeah, the Ana was not the support I was expecting. If you can hit those skill shots, then you can keep your team quite alive. It feels so bad to miss.
Speaking of things we don't see with Ana, this level 1 talent, Detachable Box Magazine, getting that ability to throw out the instant healing darts after getting 12 max doses stacked up.
Black
But
Fist.
Diablo falling really low here, but Diva charges in to save him, though it may cost her her own life.
Yeah, it may cost her life. Ends up costing Greymane's life first, however. Luckily, Wolfdark does have those 2 health bars, but as that little girl, not too much health to be had, so gonna have to really worry about that follow-up coming out from the Greymane once that mech is gone.
Oh, definitely. Now, Asmo moving into the probably most taken level 1 with Wrath, getting that extra annihilation from hitting bonus attack, from hitting basic attacks on low health heroes, and once you hit that 200, getting the extra damage on your autos coming out.
Yeah, more annihilation, more damage once you get that. It's all about getting those stacks, so Fairywinkle will likely simply have to play their own microgame at this point, which can be kind of frustrating depending on how your team is attempting to engage and depending on how far away your Azmodan is. So it's going to be a very interesting balance to see if Luciodology can handle it.
Absolutely. And if I'm Galactos on Lucio, I am always keeping an eye on where that Diablo is, because if you're riding walls, Diablo sees a wall stun. And we do have a pause coming out here, as it looks like Wolfdark is out of the game currently.
Yeah, we'll just wait for Winslow to... Or no, Winslow pause. Wait for our Diva player to come back into this game. There were talks of electrical storms going on where the players live currently, so bless their internet that they may come back. But in the meantime, checking out stats right now. So we've already got 2 kills in favor of Luciodology, which, if I'm not mistaken, is how they started this last time around? Or was it MHS Tigers that had the first 2 kills?
It was Luciodology that came in with the kills last time, I believe.
Right.
And in a very similar way, they do get a full kill on the Greymane, but in this case, it is a Diva falling with her mech twice that will bring both those half kills out in a similar way to killing the Murky last time.
Yeah, very similar way. Yeah, so far Luciodology has been pretty focused on trying to get that mech down as soon as possible, which isn't always easy, but it just changes the entire dynamic of the team for MHS Tigers if they can keep her down. They're going to have to watch out for that self-destruct, though, because there's nothing worse than thinking you got the mech down, self-destruct comes out to save her, then you have this, shadow charge coming out from Diablo, flipping you back into the explosion, and then you're having a bad time.
Yep. Or even better, if Ana sets it up with a sleep dart, just sits,
Ooh.
There's nothing you can do, just sit there and watch as that bomb goes off.
Yeah. So actually, talking about Ana, because you mentioned that you play a lot of support. What are you thinking for heroic from her?
For heroic, when you have a Jaina or any burst mage for that fact, you have to be looking at going into that nano boost. It's going to provide so much extra damage, and if Jaina does end up going into a Ring of Frost, if you hit a ring and nano that Jaina, whoever is there will die.
Oh, actually, I can't unpause. You're going to have to unpause for us. Thank you. I forgot I was not referee there. Thank you very much. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging on there. Greymane goes down somewhere in the spot lane.
That was in bottom.
And both teams now rotating, catching their breath after that bit of a pause there, trying to reframe what they were going after and what they need to do now. I like the siege camp grab over on the side of Luciodology, making sure you have that early and often pressure that we talked about in draft to make sure that you always have that experience lead over your opponents.
Agreed. And on the side of Cassia, a bit of a change up here on level 4. Instead of the standard Ring of the Leech for the health bonus, we get Plate of the Whale, getting the extra regen when Avoidance is activated. And after taking 75 basic attacks, you increase your max health by 10%.
During those rotations, Blackfist getting surrounded by 4 members of Luciodology, allowing them to then grab this bottom camp right before the shrine phase starts here in the lower part of the map, which should be able to be cleared out by MHS Tigers if they can safely rotate around to that side. However, to lose your tank, Diablo will be back, but it's still a little bit of time to rejoin the rest of your team right before this happens.
Definitely, and Diablo only at 21 souls, so not too bad, so he's not down all of the souls there. Diving in there, Goose in a really rough spot, but parks that unstoppable and moves right out.
Able to move out. Wolfdark had to back up there. Hardest thing coming out for Goose yet again. Blackfist trying to see if they can get the flip, but I think he was on cooldown. Health bar is very low on the side of MHS Tigers as well. They're going to have to be careful for dunks like that coming out from Azmodan. As
Throwing some huge dunks, already at 85 stacks of Annihilation, getting that extra damage. Now, Wolfdark on that Diva does have the self-destruct ready. Pops it here, zoning off from the shrine and getting those extra skeletal defenders.
Yeah, getting those defenders.
Huge pulling by Dahaka.
Yeah, no.
Jaina so low from that globe.
Yeah, so low. There was no follow-up on that tongue either. Goose MVP trying to be the front line. Lemony Fresh going in onto Diablo. Blackfist getting incredibly low. Flips Azmodan to try to get away, but ends up falling anyway. Shadowfist on the back line.
Gets the kill there.
Getting the chill. Montu, low health as well, trying to help the rest of the members of their team clear out these shrines. They have 32. They have 32 in their favor at this point.
Yeah, we're re-engaging here, looking for that extra. Huge globe comes in from Azmodan there. And knocks Diva out of net. Goose MVP on the Johanna has to back here, having no health or mana. And the Arcane Punisher does go to the side of MHS Tigers.
Yeah, and that is a great chance for MHS Tigers to start making up that 1 level experience loss that they have currently. Diva ends up falling elsewhere on the map during all this as well, so no additional push there. With a quick bait of the Punisher over the wall, this should be easy cleanups with not too much damage done to this fort, even though it was the Arcane Punisher. So that is the strongest Punisher in the game, not getting much value, hardly getting half a level for the Tigers.
No structures falling from that. Even the gate is still standing after that.
Montu getting really low, trying to get this camp. I wonder if they're going to be able to... There we go. Very close there. I was a little bit worried for him.
And we do, on 7 for Cassia, get War Traveler, the extra move speed every half second while Avoidance is active, up to 20% move speed for Cassia. 2 talents that aren't as often seen here. And on the Greymane side, on MHS Tigers, we are getting that Incendiary Elixir through the Gilnean Cocktail build.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's going to be any other surprises that we see in terms of builds or heroic choices. We've talked a lot about the options that we have open for MHS Tigers. Wondering for, you know, picks like Azmodan, are we going to see Demonic Invasion? Is it guaranteed tide pool? I feel like given the way Fairy Winkle has been playing, we're very likely going to see a tide pool, but is there any other, you know, cases that we should be thinking about for strange heroic pickups?
Not too many come to mind. Lucio should almost definitely be going into that sound barrier to save people from the burst of Jaina. Cassia can go either way, though I think Ball Lightning is more likely due to the group up coming out. Bless Shield, just so strong here for the CC. We talked about Azmodan's options. Dahaka does have either option, though, if he wants that bit more survivability, and we're going to find out as they do hit 10. And it is Tide of Sin for Azmodan.
Tide of Sin coming out. Next engages should be coming up very soon with level 10. This is going to give Luciodology an option to maybe gank a couple members of MHS Tigers, try to expand that level lead even further before the next raid.
On the side of Cassie, though, we do get the Valkyrie looking for those extra picks. An early sound barrier coming out from Galactus. Possibly worried about a potential turn there, but a great tongue onto Dahak, onto Diablo will cause him to fall.
Yeah, causing
Huge
the Valkyrie.
And that was an interesting Valkyrie.
It
looked like it should have hit.
Yeah, that was, if you're Jaina there, you're like, I'm okay, and then you're not okay, and then you're sad because you're dead, and you're gonna lose this fort because of that. You're gonna give your opponent a head start on the shrines, given that she still has a bit of time down. Greymane ends up getting tongued. Shadow Fist trying to get
Shadow
the kill
Fist
alone.
Really low here. The sleep comes out from Ana to save his life.
Yeah, but the rest of Luciodology coming down, trying to get Shadow Fist out. Dark Wolf is almost out of the mech. Can they pop it? No, they cannot. Not even with the dunk. Blackness with the Shadow Charge.
We do hit level 10 here for the side of MHS Tigers, and that means their ults do come online. We do get the Ring of Frost on the side of Jaina. Go for the throat for Greymane. Lightning Breath for Diablo. Bunny Hop on the side of Diva over that big shot, and we do get the Nano Boost.
Nano Boost coming out. There is that ring. Dahaka able to burrow to avoid that stun as well. Hentron getting really low, however. Shadow Fist also getting extremely low. Ana trying to back away. Unstoppable is going to come out.
From the Diablo, throwing out that Lightning Breath for the extra damage, and a huge globe takes out Ana.
With the Ana gone, this is now a terrible situation for MHS Tigers, the 2 members down, but they do not look like they're ready to back away just yet.
Dahaka burrows behind, looking for a tongue here to get a pick.
Yeah, trying to get the tongue.
Doesn't get anything here. Get both Diablo and Diva out of that situation, sending Greymane top to clear out that Khazra, sorry, not the Khazra, just the Bruiser camp, which has been pushing this entire time.
Yeah, and it's done a lot of damage to that keep as well, so that's pressure they're going to have to make sure doesn't end up taking out that keep when they're not looking like that. But for now, this Mordor Punisher going through the mid lane, gate is already down, and with level 13s on the side of Luciodology, they are keeping that level lead. They have been able to pressure so hard. We'll have to see what they can get out of this.
And Asmodean's at 220, 24 on that globe, hitting even more. Now at 230, doing so much damage. Already hitting the 200 spike he needs for Wrath, and Diva's just gone.
Diva got nerfed. To say the least.
Johanna, though, flipped over the wall. They do manage to take the gate down to take him out, but a huge Ring of Frost comes in, hitting 2 here. But Diablo does end up falling, and that is his souls down.
Yeah, souls are down. Valkyrie ends up missing, so Luciodology going to end up backing away after getting what I could say is quite a lot. They were able to get that entire fort and that keep gate down with a little bit of damage to the keep itself, so this puts them primed to grab this siege camp to continue putting pressure in this area of the map and then get pressure elsewhere. There are so many camps that they're able to get because their opponents don't have that 13 advantage yet.
Definitely, they have waves so far pushed out. They control vision here. They just have their choice of almost any map, of any camp on this map. Now, just checking in at some of the quests going on right now. Asmodean at that 247 Annihilation, having already completed Wrath for the extra damage on autos. Dahaka having finished the enhanced agility, getting the extra move speed through bushes. Chase the base, halfway done for Lucio, 8 out of 20 needed. Play to the Whale, only at 35 of the 75 needed for the extra health. Though Party Mix for Lucio is done as well, and the baseline quests on the side of MHS Tigers. Frostbite is done, so Jaina does now have that all-important Ice Block, but still needs 3 globes for Fingers of Frost. And Ana, only 3 of those 12 stacks needed for the detachable box magazine. Not getting that many value going in here. And Incendiary Elixir at 13 out of the 15 needed.
Dahaka being very diligent about clearing this top lane from that camp that their opponents were able to grab to not let them have that push advantage. This invade, though, coming down on bottom into the siege camp. Not really in time.
Aggressive, coming in 2 talents down. Huge ring comes out, hits 2, and that will be Lucio going down.
Yeah, Lucio's
fantastic play by the side of MHS Tigers. Seeing that Dahaka going top, realizing we can take a 5v4 here even though we're down a talent, and getting that pick onto Lucio that they needed.
Yeah, that pick on the Lucio was so clear. clutch. And I was a little bit worried about that invade, but you were right. With Dahaka showing top, that says our opponents, they're not showing anywhere else on the map. They're probably grabbing that camp like they have been doing so well this entire game. So let's try to see if we can find them there, catch them off guard, get a pick here or there, and make this our own. So able to do that and get themselves 13, but at the same time, Luciodology with that 16 still very far ahead. MHS Tigers still very low in terms of structures, not being able to take down any of their opponents. Fingers Frost finally completed for Jaina as well. So going into this next shrine phase, this is really scary territory for MHS Tigers.
Very much so. It's a tough time to be at, down to 16 talent here, especially Lucio coming online with that Rejuvenecia, and the additional percent healing really comes online with this healing now. Asmodan getting the percent damage on globes, already doing a lot with 291 stacks of Annihilation. Valkyrie comes out, not hitting anybody this time, but Jaina so low already. The Ice Shield keeping her away, but Diablo not so lucky.
Yeah, Diablo ends up falling first, and Luciodology, not sure they can get anything else, end up going back to that shrine.
Coming in with a huge flank onto the Jaina, hits the isolation, 52 health on the side of Jaina. She will get away, but it looks like Dahaka will as well.
How did Dahaka get out of that? That was 4 members of MHS Tigers helping Jaina out and just slithers away.
Lands the isolation, realizes, I can't get this kill. Well, I'll walk through a bush, pop my huge amount of movement speed, like 30%, and I'm out.
Finger Frost ends up landing, not really catching anyone except for that Dahaka. Greyman ends up exploding in this attempt.
Those globes are just hitting hard.
Asmodan scales so well. And that death is going to even farther secure this Punisher for Luciodology. Now pushing through this bottom lane, which already has the fort cleared. They're going to grab this camp to try to help with this push just a bit more. Add a bit more pressure down here as well.
Getting that mid lane pushing as well, so they're looking to split the focus of MHS Tigers between that Frozen Punisher and that Cosmo that's pushing. Huge shout out to Asmodan. Just Fairy Winkle playing great here. Top hero damage, top siege damage, just doing chunks of damage with those blows.
Yeah, on a map like Infernal Shrines where you know your opponents are going to be grouped, it is so value, and what's value as well is that Greyman kill, and the silence going out onto Wolfdark.
The self-destruct from the side of Diva.
That was excellent use of that isolation to make sure that she was not able to use that. Ana ends up falling in this as well. Blackfist trying to get Lemony Fresh down, ends up tanking a couple hits from the core in that. But this Punisher hoping to get
Punisher.
Valkyrie out, ends up nailing.
Lucio.
That is 5 members down on the side of on MHS Tigers.
And that should be this game going over to Luciodology. Tough game in that game number 1 against the Murky, but coming back with a great Asmodan plays to take game number 2, and we do end up splitting the series.
Yeah, a nice split series is what we like to see over here. Congratulations to both teams for taking out a win today. And it played out exactly like we talked about. Luciodology needed that really early advantage, that early pressure. They were able to snowball that through the rest of the game. So taking a look at the stats here, again, Fairy Winkle, MVP of this match. Only 1 death from that Lucio on the side of Luciodology as well. So overall, super well played. Excellent rotations, excellent map pressure. I can't say enough about that team right now. I think you might be muted. I see your mouth moving.
Is this any better?
There you go.
Yes, my mic loves to do things to me where it just decides to stop working. Yeah.
All right.
I was worried that they may have been thrown off by that Murky in game number 1, but really coming back in game number 2.
Absolutely. So it looks like we have Galactos, who was our Lucio player in that last game, ready for interview. So let's pop over into the coin toss room and get some words from them.
Sounds good.
All right.
The cast.
Hey there.
No, that's it's just 2. We're done. All done. We split 101.
Sorry. Coming in while you're talking to your team real fast. So, how are you feeling after that match, my friend?
I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh, I don't think they know we're here.
Let me
message them real fast. As we both mention each other at the same time.
That was fun.
That was an excellent game to start off the evening.
Oh, fantastic. And really excited for the next series that's coming up, too.
Yeah, absolutely. It should definitely be a good one. We're going up to...
I'm going to drop out of chat with you guys, so.
Alright, just waiting on the captain of Luciodology to get off comms and join us here in this room. As we're saying, the next game coming up at 8 p.m. Pacific time will be Peel Team 6 versus Lightly Salted over here. So we will take a short break and then come back to that. So definitely make sure to hang out for that.
Definitely 2 great games so far. Good split between Luciodology and MHS Tigers, and really excited to see what series number 2 brings and has in store.
Yeah, sure. I remember Lightly Salted doing, I believe, fairly well last season as well. So we have to see what they improved on between last season and this season and see if they can take their learnings, turn it into some early wins in their favor, and kind of get ahead in the bracket.
Definitely. And if I'm thinking right, Lightly Salted this season has been doing pretty well. If I'm thinking right, I think they're either 4-0 or 3-1 to start the season.
That's pretty impressive right there, I will say. Let's see what's going on. All right, so it seems like we're dropping in and out for the captain and Luciodology. Let's drop down to lobby 1 real fast to see maybe if that improves. Yeah. Can you hear us now?
Or me now.
Can we hear anybody now?
Hello?
Hello? I heard you a little bit.
Sad face.
Sad face. See if we can figure out these mic issues. I'm wondering if it's also storming over there. It seems like East Coast is getting bombarded with something terrible right now.
If I'm thinking right, I think it was Luciodology that actually mentioned they were the ones having the storm to begin with. So it's quite possible that's just what's going on.
Let's see. Give this one more go around. Perhaps the gods say no no interview for us tonight. Am I dropping in and out for you or no?
I hear you crystal clear.
All right, cool.
Hello?
Hey!
Hello.
Closed Discord and restarted it.
Hey, there we
That
go.
sounds
Good
like it does
old Discord. My friend, how are you doing after that win? You mentioned it was your first win of the series.
Excited? Yeah, we lost both our games in our first match, and this was our second match, so we were excited to split. Yeah, especially after that was a tough loss for us in the first match, so the first game.
Yeah, talk about game number 1 for us. I think, everyone involved seemed to be expecting that Cho Gall. So with the ban and then the Gall ban for your opponent, which is actually kind of hysterical, What were your thoughts when they locked in that Murky?
We were kind of a little bit concerned. I mean, we had done a little scouting, and we knew that some of their players really like to play Murky, so we were curious to see how that panned out. So, you know, Murky as usual was a pain in the neck. So,
as
Not
he
even
usually is. Not even once. So after coming out of that game, what were sort of your thoughts internally about what you were looking to change going into Infernal Shrine, since your team did pick Tomb of the Spider Queen, and so going into your opponent's matchup after something like that, how do you mentally reset after that kind of loss?
well, we felt that we were, you know, we felt we could play with them. You know, we got to 10 first, and you know, they were able to get that boss, and we just couldn't get up there to stop them, and that kind of changed the tide for us. So we knew that if we kind of played our game and stayed with it, that we would be okay. So we just all decided to, you know, just really focus on heroes that we were more comfortable with. So we figured as Luciodology, we fell back on the Lucio pick, and you know, I think that helped. So, you know, hopefully, you know, the lag wasn't impacting them that much. You know, we know that's always, you'd prefer to have everybody, you know, playing on the same level, but, you know, we were happy with the way that we performed.
Absolutely. BKL, I will pass it over to you for questions.
All right. So game 1, we saw the Murky. Were you guys expecting some other interesting picks coming into game 2? We did end up getting 2 really out of the blue picks of the Ana and Diva. Did you guys have any expectations coming in from what they might possibly bring in here?
We were not expecting Diva. We thought Nova might make an appearance, but or a Murky again. We actually briefly considered a Murky ban, but decided against that. So yeah, the Diva, yeah, that definitely surprised us a little bit.
Now, for you guys and for a lot of teams, Asmodan has been a constant ban early on. So were you guys always planning to grab him here up, or were you just expecting him to be banned like usual?
Banned. We were actually gonna ban him first, and then we're like, you know, let's just lay off it. Let's let them ban him, and if they don't, then we'll just pick him up and jump in and get him, and that's what happened.
And pick him you did, and play well with him you did.
Tick all the boxes right
He did
there.
a great job.
Yeah, for sure. We were saying definitely MVP after that last game with that damage coming out, those really sick dunks. So it looks like it's something that I'm assuming you all maybe practice a bit more often and just assume it's going to be banned out given Asmodan's current state in the game, or is it kind of a for fun pick that if you can get it, great, and if not, you know, no big deal?
And I think it's more the latter. I know he likes to play Asmo in quick match and stuff like that, so, you know, we figured we just would, like I said, just take a flyer on it and see how it went. So it worked out for us.
Yeah, very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope to see it come out again in your next series, whenever that may be. So, yeah, I don't have any more questions. BKL, anything you want to follow up with?
Just one last thing, and it was, you've been playing so much Deckard Cain. You've played great on that hero. When they banned it out, was your instant reaction, okay, it's time to bust out the main namesake for Lucio?
Actually, I have to admit that we had already decided going into that game that I was going to switch to Lucio.
Really?
Jump baited.
They banned the Deckard, realized baited the ban. There you go. So yeah, we had no problem with that already. We were emotionally in the Lucio space.
Very
not
cool.
only one support ban, but 2 support bans with the Alex Straza as well.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Again, congratulations on your win. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for shoutouts.
I would just like to shout out my my son, who was watching the game, is usually on our team, but he was took the night off this time. So hopefully he was watching us and enjoyed it. And I'm going to give a shout out to myself because it was my birthday yesterday. So there you go.
Well, happy belated
Happy
birthday!
birthday.
Right back on the grindstone as well. Awesome. All right. Well,
Okay. Well, thanks so much for casting. It was awesome.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for playing, and we'll see you again soon. All right, so I think we are, given the time space, we're probably going to drop stream for a bit and host over to another NGS game going on at the moment. Before we do that, however, BKL, if people want to find you on the internet, if they're not familiar with who you are from NGS, where can they find you? Where do you hang out? Things like that.
On the internet, I am a ghost. I'm just kidding. Really, look around the NGS Discord. I'm usually there. I am one of the moderators. In this case, I'm DivBWest mod. So find me in that chat or just in general. Honestly, shoot me a message. Always happy to chat about anything about this game. Love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again in about 50 minutes for game number 2. Again, we're going over to Division D with Peel Team 6 and Lightly Salted, so we hope to see you there. In the time being, we are going to raid over to, I believe, a different Division D game. Let's see who's going on here. Running with Turtles versus Virtual Murky Slayers, which looks like it may have just begun, or is either in second game in draft. So we'll send you over to that. Make sure to hang out there and then come back later at 8 o'clock to catch game number 2. So thanks again, and we'll see you later. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely going to be a great game to catch on that channel.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to go peep it while we take a break. So we'll see you over there.
Sounds good.
All right.